before we start with the mental health stuff. Wow, that's such a broad thing.
I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to talk too much about it. Mental health is a thing that has, I don't know, it's meant different things to me at different stages of my life. Like if someone was talking about mental health to me as a child, I would think they're talking about a person being crazy. Essentially, if you were talking about someone's mental health back then, it wasn't something about anxiety or depression. It was like they were crazy, they were loopy. So I feel like there was a huge stigma attached to mental health when I was young. And as I've grown older and the world's, I guess, evolved in their way of thinking, the stigma's kind of dropped out more and more and people are more understanding. But to a certain extent, like I feel like some people are misdiagnosing themselves with mental health issues. So I want to be very careful about how I word the next things that I'm going to say. I don't want anyone to watch this and think that I'm saying, oh, I've been depressed or sympathize with me. Do you know what I mean? I don't want any of that at all. I'm just clearing up that I'm not saying that I'm suffering from mental health issues, but I've had my own mental battles, if that's a way to word it.
What is your job entailed on a day-to-day basis?
It's changed so much over the last few years. Initially, it was me making FIFA videos for the most part. Now, FIFA videos, those are the good times to tell you, like, I could flip a FIFA video in 2 hours if I needed to. Record some gameplay for like 40 minutes and get good gameplay because I was good at the game. I don't really play it now. And then 40 minutes, bang, straight into the editing software, cut that up in another hour, render and export and upload, and I'm done. And I could do that on a daily basis. And then myself and the guys, the sidemen, we kind of started moving away from that, evolving as content creators essentially into more of the real life stuff, the challenge videos, the vlogs, all of that stuff, the football videos as well. And that's when I think the job starts to take its toll on you. It requires much more creative thinking than just pumping out a FIFA series or 3 different FIFA series across a week, do you know what I mean? I am someone that's very particular over what I put out. And there's some videos that I've put out that if everything was in my control, I wouldn't have put out. I'm very particular over what I put out because I like to read the feedback. That's the most addictive bit about YouTube for me. That's what keeps me doing it essentially. I like creating something, putting it out there and getting feedback back. It's good because if it's positive feedback, you're gassed. And if it's negative feedback, you can learn from it most of the time if it's constructive. But the issue came with growing as a YouTuber, as a YouTube channel. The bigger your platform gets, the more unnecessarily negative people you get. You get people that don't like you because of how your voice sounds or because of little mannerisms that are just you. You get people that don't like you because other people do like you. I mean, it's really weird. I think that growing more and more, you start to see these comments more and more. And even though you kind of develop a thick skin, because I've never had someone come up to me in person and say, hey, yo, your shit's whack. Do you know what I mean? Anytime someone's come up to me in person, it's been positive. So you develop a thick skin in the sense that you realize the people that leave these negative comments are what you call keyboard warriors. But sometimes you're in a state of mind where that comment affects you more than it would on a normal day. Do you know what I mean? You start to think about it and take it on board and question everything that you do. In the last few months, I've really struggled to kind of find exactly where I want to take my YouTube channel, exactly what I want to do. And from an outside perspective, as a subscriber, you might go on YouTube and you might not see a video from me for 2-3 weeks and you're thinking, oh, what's Toby doing? He's not working. Like, where's the videos? Other YouTubers are pumping out 5, 6, 7 videos a week. And to them, it looks like I'm being lazy or I'm not working. Whereas in reality, I got a million ideas and I'm here having this mental battle with myself, questioning whether what I've thought of or what I've put together is good enough to go online and what kind of feedback and response I'd get. And I think that's part of a build-up of negative comments. It's like just in your subconscious. It's not something I think about on a day-to-day basis, but I feel like when you hear things, you take it in. You might think you've forgotten about it, but it's actually there in the back of your head. So I've been really struggling recently to try and just make something that I know that I'll be happy with and that I know people will enjoy, because I've been second guessing myself. Everything in my head is it good enough to go out to these people? Even the chef video that I did not too long ago, that was a struggle in itself for me to bring myself to that stage to do something like that. But yeah, there's dozens and dozens of video ideas that I've either started and like thrown away because I'm not happy with how it's going, or I'm second guessing myself, or that I've just not even put into practice yet because I either feel like I'm not ready to do it as well as I can, or that it's just not going to be good enough, people won't accept it. Whereas in reality, what I really need to do is try it. It's a hard one. I know it's very easy for people to say, oh, don't care what other people think, just do what makes you happy. But what makes me happy is seeing, this sounds so cheesy, I swear, everything I say sounds cheesy, but like, I don't know, it's just me being real with you. What makes me happy is seeing other people happy. 100%, I can't put it any other way. People who know me personally will know that I very rarely do things for myself for personal gain. So there might be stuff that I might find fun to shoot or to do, but if I don't think my audience will enjoy it as content, then, do you know what I mean? What's the point? It's a bit of a waste of time for me. Do you know what? I'm very lucky with my audience in particular, because my audience is very, very understanding of me as a person, of what I do, of how I come across in my content. And they appreciate the effort. Like, they can see when I've put effort into something. Whenever I put something out, people are always supportive for me. I can't front on that. The issue probably comes with the numbers. Sometimes you put effort and like so much time and energy into a video, and the views they'll not do well. Do you know what I mean? And then there's other times where you're like, okay, let me just scramble together a quick video idea and record this in like 2 hours, edit it in another 2 and put it out. And there's literally almost minimal, I'm not going to say minimal because there's still a lot of effort required, but literally it feels like you've done the bare minimum and then that video will go and blow up. The effort to reward ratio on YouTube can a lot of the time be very messed up, and I think for me, for the most part, the feedback's always good. There's always a couple negative comments, but like I said, they're gonna come more. The more you grow, the more negative comments you see. But the feedback is always mostly positive from my audience. I can't even complain about that, actually. Shout out you lot that support me if you're watching.
Has there been a moment in the last few years you've kind of found yourself in and gone, wow, I didn't see myself get to this point?
Every day I look at the position I'm in, and this is what makes that, going back to the mental battle thing, this is what makes that feel all the more worse. Because I'm constantly there doubting myself, and am I good enough to do this? Am I putting out good enough content for people? And then I'm in a position where I've got so many blessings coming my way. That I've done X and Y and Z with the Sidemen. Like, We released a book, #1 bestseller, hit 1 million subs on both channels with them, hit 1 million subs on both of my personal channels. Like, why am I still doubting myself? Do you know what I mean? It makes me feel guilty. It makes me feel ungrateful as a person. But I know that I'm not ungrateful. I'm so blessed to be in the position that I'm in. So it's a big mind fuck, essentially. But yeah, there's been countless moments. The book stuff was probably up there with the first big things we did. Even when we did a show with Comedy Central, Sidemen, that was huge for us. The charity matches, huge successes. Like, performing in front of millions of people, essentially, online across the world. Toby! This hat thing with New Era is probably one of the biggest deals for me. Coming from where I came from, where I grew up, I don't know, it's a place where a lot of people struggle. Do you know what I mean? I actually don't remember coming in here. It's been at least 15 years. At least. It's just crazy. Went to this preschool. Me and my sister both went to this preschool. I think a couple of my siblings did as well. It's the old building I used to live in. Supporters that know me will know that I'm one of 6 children in my family, and we started off in a 3-bed flat in East London. And my parents got us out of there eventually after doing night shifts, and my mum would work all day and my dad would work all night. Rarely saw them together, maybe on the weekend. It feels like so long ago in a very different time. That's my bedroom there, 2nd floor up to the 3rd window up. That was my old bedroom. And to come from that to working with like the big companies that I've worked with, companies that I've seen since I was growing up, since I was a child, is crazy. It's so different to how it was when I was here. I can't even get through the doors now. They've locked it off to people who only have keys. Life's actually crazy, you know, like super crazy. Ah, this is memories right here. What? This place is so small. In my head, this place is so much bigger. It hasn't changed a bit, other than them putting this net on top. It's all exactly the same. This is where me and Manny used to kick ball. Jed was quite young then, so he didn't come down here a lot. But me and Manny used to kick ball in here. This was it. Sometimes kids would come from other estates and stuff, and we'd play against them. We'd only make it here when we was brave enough to walk past the kids chilling on peds though. Kids used to chill on peds over there all the time. Peds and bikes. This never used to be here. Have clear goals in life, goals you dream about and believe in, goals you can go for every day. Nice words, nice words. So we're just driving past my old school now. This is literally where I spent my whole primary school life. Massive playground over here. They used to have 2 separate playgrounds. The kids are in the playground, so we're not going to film that stuff. A lot of nostalgia. Growing up, this place felt like the biggest, baddest place in the world. And now that I'm here, it's the place full of memories, I guess. I'm not intimidated by it at all. I was shook growing up here as a kid. And from the outside, it looks pretty calm. If you're used to stuff like this and seeing places like this, or living around places like this, it's calm. But when you hear about some of the stories that have gone on in this estate, there's a reason my parents really wanted to get me and my siblings out of here. We hate change, people hate change. We're so content being where we are most of the time, and when we have to change something and get out of our comfort zone, we don't like it at all. So I didn't want to leave my friends and everything I knew. I was going to have to go and make new friends. And as a child, it sounds petty now thinking about it, but as a child, that's your worst nightmare.
Where are we heading to now?
I'm going to my secondary school. The school where myself and Josh both got our GCSEs. and A-levels, actually. I was 11 when I started, left at 16, well, left at 18 really, because I stayed and went to the sixth form there. So a good 7 years of my life was spent at this school with mostly the same people. At my secondary school, I'll put the camera down because someone's coming out.
How formative for you as a person was being here?
Being here at this school,
Yeah.
probably the same as anyone, regardless of what school they go to, really. You spend your adolescent years really finding yourself as a person. The people around you can help shape and mold who you are. So I guess that's the variable, regardless of what school you go to, it's more the people around you. And I guess coming here to this school allowed me to have people around me who were driven to succeed, because that's all they were really exposed to. Success, like trying to be successful. That's all your parents wanted you to be. If you were in the school, that means you'd set an exam to purposely get you in here. The 11 plus, I never heard about it before I came to this area. But you'd set an exam specifically for the purpose to get into this school or any other grammar school. So yeah, being at a school like this basically just meant that I was surrounded by people who wanted to succeed and do well and were driven and motivated in life. For the most part, there were some people that still maybe took it for granted, and some people that just weren't really feeling it, but they were smart enough to get in here in the first place. There's always going to be a part of me that wonders if I didn't come to this area or to a school like this, whether I would have been as driven and determined and motivated to, I don't know, to get somewhere in life. Like, would I have been sidetracked by a different, I don't know words to use. I'm trying to use words that won't offend people, because anything you say can be misconstrued. Big words today, misconstrued.
Outside of grammar school, you gotta keep up.
Come on. Do you know, it's more of a language college, yeah. What do you call it? Yeah, I studied languages here. Got Spanish, French, even Latin.
Did you do well in them? All of them?
I got a C in Latin.
What's Latin?
I didn't like it. Caecilius est in horto. What are you doing in the garden, Caecilius? Get out of there, bro.
I don't even know French.
Yeah. No, I got A's in French and Spanish. I should have got A stars though, but let's not talk about that. The thing I want to say is, regardless of what school you go to, there's always going to be people that are determined to succeed, and there's always going to be people that can't be asked with life like that. You know, they don't care about life like that. The only difference between my old area and, let's say, this new area is the concentration of the numbers of those people, if that makes sense. So here, you're more likely to be around someone that wants to do well, whereas back in my old area, a lot of people, all they know is the struggle, and although they might want to do well, they don't have that same drive and determination, because to them it's less likely, like, what's the chances I'm gonna get out of here and succeed? However, having said that, when you do stumble across someone that has come from a difficult background and they are driven to succeed, they always want it more than someone who has come from an advantageous background, essentially. So, like, as much as you could say me being around like-minded people was good for my development, I think the most of it came from my parents. Like, they had me determined to succeed from back when I was living in the ends. My dad and my mum, they had me determined to do well, and they made it clear that I could do well, like nothing was impossible. Like, when people say that, it's cliche, but that's what was drilled into me. They made it clear that I could do whatever I put my mind to. And that's been my ethos for life, really. New era is a big one for me because, as everyone who knows me knows, I love hats. I've loved hats for as long as I can remember. I think I started wearing them about the age of 11. I feel like that's when my obsession with hats developed, just as I got into secondary school. And New Era was the hat you wanted to wear, the cap you wanted to wear, the New York Yankees hat. I was a Yankees hat wearer for time, even though I knew nothing about the Yankees. I don't watch baseball. I think that had a big Jay-Z influence. I think that's where that came from, Jay-Z. But yeah, I had so many New York Yankees hats back then. I used to pose in them all the time as a kid. Very neaky. Yeah, about 2014, I became a Celtics fan. I started wearing Celtics hats all the time and so on and so forth. But New Era is the consistent or the constant in that cap category. So for me to be working with them and releasing the hat is ridiculous. Like, that's crazy for me. When New Era reached out to me and they were like, yo, we want to do this hat, obviously I was very gassed, but I wanted to do something that was meaningful to me, like had like a deeper meaning behind it. And I wanted the hat to represent me as a person, like who I am. So I didn't really know what to do. All I knew is I didn't want to slap my YouTube logo on a hat, you get me? I'm very reluctant to put myself on a product and sell it. Because in my head I'm thinking, why do you want to, you know what I mean? So I spoke to Tice, shout out Tice. For those of you who don't know Tice, he does my thumbnails, a load of graphics for myself and the other sidemen, and a couple other YouTubers as well. Very, very talented guy. But I spoke to him and I was like, yo bro, I'm about to make a hat with New Era. This is a big deal for me. Can you give me some words that you would associate with me as a person? Or if someone was to be like, oh, describe Toby, what's Toby like? Like, what would you tell them? And he said a few things to me, but there was two things that really stuck out. And one was that I'm always positive. And I get this a lot. It's really weird because I don't feel like that. Like I said, having a mental battle with myself, half the time I'm really doubting myself. You know what I mean? It's not always positive in my head. But he said to me, no, you give out positive energy to everyone, positive vibes. Like, you say the right thing at the right time, blah, blah, blah. And then he said something along the lines of equality. And I was like, what do you mean equality? And he said, well, you treat everyone the same, regardless of who they are, what they do, how many subs they got, how many followers they got, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then he came up with the plus and equals concept, which works because with my YouTube logo, there's links in the format. You got the white on top and the two yellow lines underneath, and it kind of looks like a T if you want. And that was it really. So Tice heavily influential in the making of the hat. But yeah, it's meant to represent positivity and equality, I guess, as well as a little tribute to my YouTube logo. Yeah, I just really didn't want to have my logo on a hat, but it's something that if you saw this hat out and about, if you know about myself and my channel, then you might be like, oh shit, that's a Toby hat. But if you don't know, it just looks like a cool design.
Is there a moment that you identify with or hold very close to your heart?
There's a moment I had where I was maybe about, what was it? It'll be about 5 years ago now, where I was with COLLAB, another YouTuber, and we was talking about our goals. It might be 6 years ago. It's a crazy long time ago. But I was with COLLAB and we was talking about what we wanted to do, and I was telling him how badly I wanted to hit 100,000 subs on YouTube. He's like, yeah man, you just gotta keep working, we'll get there. And then however long it was down the line, we did it. And he was like, yeah, I told you so. There was a similar moment like that with my friend Dan Fleming, or Dan One Piece we call him. In fact, there's been a few of those moments with Dan, where I was telling him how I wanted to move out and set up myself and just start being able to work on my own 2 feet with this YouTube stuff. And then through God's grace, we got there, and he was looking back like, look, bro, I told you you could do it. You've done this YouTube stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, shit, we said it and we did it. Do you know what I mean? Another moment with him was this hat stuff. He was there at the very start when I was saying, oh, I'd love to work with New Era, and he was trying to make connections for me at New Era and get me down to the offices. That's becoming a thing tomorrow or today, whenever you're watching this. It's probably already become a thing. Shutting down the theme park is something I spoke about with Josh. Getting my dream car is something I spoke about with Josh. And I got my dream car about coming up to, it's going to be 3 years in September that I've got a car that I'd always wanted. It's going to be a year in August since we shut down Fort Park. I shut down Fort Park for my friends and for some supporters. You know how crazy that is. So like, there's been a few moments like that. All those moments stick really close to me because you kind of speak them into existence. People talk about speaking things into existence, and it sounds really weird and like, what are you talking about? If you want something, you just do it. But I find that when you say that you're gonna do something and you keep telling yourself you're gonna do something, your mind is always in the state of wanting to work towards that goal, and that's what helps you achieve it. So speaking things into existence isn't a joke. Obviously, you need a little bit of luck along the way. Sometimes things go wrong. A lot of the time, things go wrong. I can't tell you. Things go wrong on a daily basis for me, like a daily basis. But most of the time, you don't hear about it on socials or anything because it's a minor, like, still so many blessings coming my way that I can't complain. But yeah, things will go wrong. But as long as you keep speaking things into existence and working towards them, chances are you'll get there, 100%.